MCU draft of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What this is basically we're just going to kind of run through the cast of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and just draft them to different projects in the MCU, because honestly, there's a lot of good talent in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I don't think they should go to waste. With me, of course, is the enigmatic, I can't even say it right, the awesome Captain's America. So, Zam, how you been?
I've been okay because, as you know, the quarantine has not been affecting me too much because I'm a goddamn fucking hero, aka essential worker. So I've been out and about making sure all these other essential workers get to work. So I've been okay. I haven't been stuck indoors like a lot of other people. And I believe you're an essential worker too, Roberto. Is that correct?
I am. I'm an essential worker. They drag my ass to work every single day.
Yeah, well.
So I even get free nuggets at Wendy's.
Well, there's a silver lining to everything. So yeah, so it hasn't been too bad, but also, regardless of not being stuck indoors, still the last few weeks, apart from trying to stay alive, it's been boring as fuck. Boring as fuck.
All right, so Zam, what's your experience with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that you remember? I know you said you haven't watched recently, but
okay. So just for people who don't know, I've stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think halfway through the season when we got introduced to the Ghost Rider. And that was simply because they left such a big gap between the mid-season finale to the start of the second half of the season that I just lost interest, and I haven't gone back to it. And plus the fact that the television shows and the movies, even though the television shows tried to adapt what was going on in the movies, it wasn't really vice versa, and so it didn't feel special to me anymore. Like it was like hanging around with the useless little brother of the cool big brother, watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You had all these fucking secondary members, people like Samuel L. Jackson wasn't really coming back anymore, and we didn't get really. Look, maybe I'm wrong on here, but I've stopped watching it for a few years now. But we didn't get enough cameos of the big guns, some of the Avengers in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that was for me that was an issue.
Well, and I feel like when the show kind of started to stand on its own, I think it started, and that's after you stopped watching. But when the show stopped, when it started standing on its own and stopped conforming to like the MCU timeline after season 5, I mean season 5 was okay because they kind of kept themselves outside the whole MCU timeline thing, and they kind of made it so that they didn't conform to that. Season 6 I thought was pretty good. And it was shorter too. It was only 13 episodes, which I really think helped it in its storytelling aspect. And now season 7, of course, there's time travel shenanigans, and now they're back in the 1930s, which I'm not thrilled about, but I really do feel like, and it might be a good season, but I'm kind of glad it's coming to an end. However, I don't want some of these characters to go away. Like I do like Agent May. I do like Coulson, but we'll get into him in a little bit. I do like Quake. I know a lot of people hate Quake. Daisy, I like her. I think she's. I mean,
I like Daisy.
Yeah,
I like Daisy. She's good.
There's
She's
a lot of
good.
hate out there for Daisy for some reason, and honestly, I mean, I feel like she's underutilized as a character in the show, and I think that's one of the reasons why she garners the hate. But anyway,
I just want to also add is that the DCEU and DC in general hasn't done much right when it comes to their big productions, but when it comes to television, they've done a lot right, in my opinion. And I think what they did right, which a lot of fans didn't like initially, was that they were going to separate the TV universe from the movie universe. But over the years, I've come to realize that was probably the right thing to do.
I agree.
And in a way, I think the MCU and the television universe. But you look at the Netflix television series, Marvel television series like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and all of that. They don't really mesh with the MCU, do they? Hardly. You don't even see fucking Avengers Tower or any shit like that, and they have to talk about the Avengers characters without even saying their names, like the big green guy and shit like that.
Well,
You
they
know?
they did make actual references.
Yeah, they mentioned Captain America in season 3 of Jessica Jones. I do remember, but nevertheless, it didn't feel like they were part of the same world. And if they don't feel like they're part of the same world, then don't make them in the fucking same world. That's all I have to say about that.
I mean, and I feel like that a lot of that, I think that Disney Plus shows are going to be different because they're all under Kevin Feige.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I feel like that I feel like now that all of all of this is under Kevin Feige, I feel like we're going to feel more cohesive. But I agree with you. I feel like the biggest downfall of any of these TV shows was the fact that it wasn't under the MCU umbrella. Because you're right. Either you go all in or you go, or you don't.
Yeah.
And so I think that they tried to go all in, and I don't know what happened, but we'll see how this goes with the Disney Plus shows. I think it'll be okay because it's all under one person.
Well, it already feels different with the Disney Plus show. For fuck's sake, you got a show called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, two characters who are very prominent in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that these TV shows, and WandaVision as well, we know these TV in Loki, and we know all the Hawkeye show and everything. I mean, if that happens or not, because we know Jeremy Renner has gone fucking nuts. But nevertheless, we've seen all these characters on the big screen, so seeing them on the small screen playing the same characters is not going to make us think that this is a separate universe. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing the small screen version of the MCU, because it's going to be done right, I believe, and with what Disney Plus are doing.
So let's get into the topic of the video.
Yes, sir.
So what we're going to do is any of the MCU either rumored or confirmed projects that are coming up, we're going to draft members of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cast and the major members. I think here's who I have on my list. Agent Coulson, Mac, Deathlock, who I know hasn't been in the past couple seasons, but he's one of my favorites from the show. And I'm going to add him because it's my list. Quake, May, Fitzsimmons, and Yo-Yo. So, and I'm going to basically kind of, say what project I would put them in and then why. And then obviously, Zam, you can add anything that you would like to at this point. So
I'll give you my thoughts on where those people should go.
That's absolutely. Because mine are probably wrong anyway, so according to the comment section.
Fair enough.
All right, so we'll start with Yo-Yo, kind of one of the lesser members of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm not too thrilled with this person, and honestly, and just so these people don't have to be major parts of these movies. They just have to kind of like show up in the movie, kind of like Coulson showed up in Captain Marvel 1. Like they don't have to play a predominant role in the movie. They just show up and do something. So we'll start with Yo-Yo, and I honestly would put her on She-Hulk. And the reason why I'd put her Yo-Yo on She-Hulk is because of her power set. Because she kind of has that, that where she can run really fast, but then she has to go back to her point of origin when she's done slowing down time, which I always thought was an interesting power, and they didn't really take too much advantage of. They just basically, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they kind of made her into a speedster. But I think on She-Hulk, I think it would be interesting for, after Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. folds and stuff like that. And just, She-Hulk is kind of is going to be like a, New York show, a New York show. Maybe Yo-Yo's in New York and is tracking somebody down, and She-Hulk's, it's a part of one of She-Hulk's cases. And then they kind of collab for an episode in She-Hulk. Or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I didn't really put a ton of thought into Yo-Yo because I don't care that much for Yo-Yo. So I don't know. What do you think?
It depends how you going to bring her in. Do you bring her in on the pilot, or do you bring her in halfway through the first season, second season even?
I would say just for an episode or two, honest and truly. Like as I said, I mean, it doesn't have to be a substantial role.
Recurring character who comes like a couple of episodes a season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I mean, maybe maybe She-Hulk is defending an Inhuman. An Inhuman that accidentally killed someone or something like that when their powers manifested. And Yo-Yo is like a friend of, like one of the Yo-Yo's trying to protect this Inhuman from, repercussions of something that was outside of their control, and She-Hulk then has to kind of step in.
Is She-Hulk the show where it's going to have the cop from Ant-Man, the assistant girl from Thor, what's her face?
No, that's I think it's WandaVision.
WandaVision's having that, and that's also got what's her face? Captain Marvel's goddaughter.
Yeah.
Rambo was the surname.
Oh God.
That's WandaVision.
I don't remember her name. But yeah, no, that's all WandaVision.
Really?
They haven't even casted for She-Hulk yet.
Okay.
They've just announced the name. So
yeah, well, I've always thought that, I mean, they showed a lot of stuff in previous phases which never came out. And I don't, even though they're quite adamant that a lot of this stuff is going to happen or they expect it to happen, I'm not so sure. Now with the virus going on as well, who knows when these shows will happen.
I mean, everything's going to get shuffled around.
Yeah. Delayed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm not really fussed about Yo-Yo.
Yeah, neither am I. I mean, that's why I thought she might be a nice little nod. If she comes in on an episode of She-Hulk or whatever, because She-Hulk is kind of going to be. I'm sure they'll make it like a superhero crime investigation show. Just with She-Hulk.
It needs to be a lot of these shows, they can't be too formulaic. They've got to be original and they've got to have a bit of a budget. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do something like She-Hulk, and do it right, and just, like I said, don't make it like villain of the week and all of that sort of stuff. I just want some originality.
Well, I'm the Mark, and I don't want to. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so you want to move to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I got a sir. Okay. So we'll move on to Fitzsimmons. I think, in my opinion, Fitzsimmons would probably fit best in the Fantastic Four movie, like the first Fantastic Four movie. I think it would be great because of their, Fitz is a genius engineer and Simmons is a biochemist.
Why can't they be Sue Storm and Reed Richards? I mean, you could say that Fitz's real name is Reed Richards, for instance. Like, he only had a code name, which was Fitz, for the sake of being part of S.H.I.E.L.D. And she could say, my real name is Sue Storm, and I got a brother called Johnny, and
you could do that, but at the same, and I wouldn't hate it, but at the same time, you need. I feel like for a Fantastic Four thing, you need to have a bit more star power. Like they're talking about,
I know.
What's his name, Krasinski or whatever his name is, or Reed Richards and
Emily Blunt.
And then at one point Zac Efron for Johnny Storm, which I'm not opposed to. I don't mind Zac Efron. I think he would probably.
I think he's a bit old now. I don't think. I mean, Johnny Storm needs to be a 20-something. I think Zac Efron's in his 30s now.
Really?
Yeah,
God, I'm old. So I mean, well then whoever they get who's younger, I mean that's fine. And then you got to have Dwayne Johnson as Ben Grimm. I mean, come on, it's right.
Dwayne
there.
Johnson.
I think Dwayne Johnson would be a good Ben Grimm.
I'm not sure. I'm not feeling that. To tell you
really?
the truth.
I feel like he could do a good Yancey Street. Like, I mean, as long as he gets the accent right and he gets the slang right, I feel like he could pull it off.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Dwayne Johnson would like to be part of a quartet for a start. Now he's superstardom. I mean, he might be part of a duo.
He's in Jumanji. That's a quartet.
Yeah, but he's still the lead, and he's still the lead. Out of all four of them. But Ben Grimm was never the lead. You know what I mean? He never was. And it was always Reed Richards. It was always Reed Richards. So I just can't imagine him playing that role.
Yeah.
I would really have to think about who would be a good thing, but
well,
I'll have to ponder on it. Yeah.
What do you think about my pick for Fitzsimmons to kind of be like?
I don't like the idea of them being it. No, you know who they need to be with? What was his name? Dr. Eric something or other, the guy from
Thor.
Yeah, he needs to. They need to get with him and be involved with him in something.
But they're they're totally different. Like Eric Selvig was an astrophysicist.
They're scientists. This is fucking fiction. Just fucking get it together. Just get it
All right, all
together.
right, all right. I'll
You
give
know
you.
what I mean?
My reasoning behind Fantastic Four is because of their backgrounds and engineering. About, I mean,
I
if they were
understand.
working in the Baxter Building, and then they could make some sly remark during the movie, just saying, this kind of crap follows us everywhere we go. Like we can't get away from it.
I understand, but if you want them to be like that, then that feels more like a cameo. But if you really want them to have a good way of entering into the MCU, then Selvig is the right guy to do it. He's the
Okay.
door. He's the door that opens them up to that world, and then see where they venture from there. I mean, they could be. This is where they could take inspiration from the DCEU. Sometimes they could just be guys who could be on one show and then on another show and then on another show. Which are all these television MCU shows. They could do it like that.
Okay. I mean, I don't hate the idea. So I mean, I think that I think that's good.
By the way, when I mention the MCU, I do mean the television shows as well as the movies.
Yeah, I mean, at this point with the MCU, you kind of have to encompass Disney Plus shows as well as because
Yeah.
that's how they're presenting it. Like they're presenting it as one big thing right now. All right. All right, you ready to move on to next one?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do. Okay, so I'm going to group two of them together, and this is one that's going to be a little bit much, but I'm going to put Mac and Deathlock together. Do you remember who Mac is?
Deathlock's the black guy, isn't it? The robotic black guy.
Yes.
Yeah, but Mac.
And Mac, I guess he's a black guy too. I don't know his nationality, but he's a big tank looking guy.
Yeah. I saw him. He's bold.
Yeah.
As well.
So,
Yeah.
But here's what I want to do, because if you remember back in,
he was an engineer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
he was an engineer. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to put Mac and Deathlock on a new show on Hulu called a rated R series like Netflix called Marvel Knights. And all right. Well, let me finish before you crucify me. All right. So, but also I want Mac to get re-inhabited by the Ghost Rider, because if you remember in season 4, Mac was inhabited by the Ghost Rider for an episode.
Yeah, so, I remember that episode actually.
So what I want is I want the Ghost Rider to re-inhabit Mac, and then you have Mac as the Ghost Rider, you have Deathlock, and then you have the Punisher, and you have Elektra, and you've kind of got your Marvel Knights dark and gritty TV show.
I'm not a fan of the actress who plays Elektra, by the way, in the Daredevil and fucking Defenders. I'm not a fan of her.
Well, then recast her. But I still like the idea of having Elektra on this team.
But the guy who plays Mac, you know what he should be? He should be the fucking new Luke Cage, in my opinion. And that's where the direction they should go with him.
Like actual Luke Cage?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, the actor who currently plays him.
Make him Luke Cage.
Well, the actor who currently plays Luke Cage on Netflix, he's just not a spring chicken anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just think that if they're gonna, restart, refresh, whatever. I mean, you've got Mahershala Ali playing Blade, and he was in fucking what was it? He was in Luke Cage. Mm-hmm. You got that other actress who was also in Luke Cage, and she had a small role in Age of Ultron, playing a different character. So, they have mixed it up in the past. They're doing it now with Mahershala Ali. So have this guy who plays Mac play Luke Cage. I think he's perfect for it. Good age as well. He'll last a while. He's got the look. He's got the size. I think he's perfect for it. He's already playing a very nice, humble guy. He can do the role.
I'm going to have to disagree with you out there, but I mean, I don't think it's a terrible idea, but I don't, the actor that played Mac had too big of a role. I know Mahershala Ali is going to play Mahershala Ali he was on Luke Cage, the show, and that's
Cottonmouth is a big character.
Huh?
Cottonmouth is a big character in Luke Cage.
I know, but I'm saying the Netflix shows are essentially soft canon to the MCU. So you can get away with bringing Mahershala Ali as in somebody else. Mac had a pretty big role on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a long time. I don't know. I don't know if I could follow that. I mean, if they did it, I would I mean, but here's the thing. I also want to on Hulu. I would also do if we're talking that stuff too. I would on Hulu. I would do a Heroes for Hire show. I would get Luke Cage. I would get Iron Fist. I would get Misty Knight. I would get uh, Colleen Wing. All the ones from Iron Fist and Rosario Dawson for
Is it Finn Jones? Yeah,
yeah.
look, Finn Jones, honestly, the guy needs to learn how to do some fucking martial arts. Because nowadays, if you're going to be an actor and you're going to be in a martial art show, you need to know how to do martial arts. This is why, for instance, God, the actor who plays Spider-Man, Tom Holland. You know why he's so good at Spider-Man?
Because he's
Because
agile.
because he's a gymnast.
Yeah.
He's a gymnast, so he's already got the role in the bag. He's a good actor as well. So yeah,
Well, and I mean, and also my speaking of Blade, my backup for Mac as Ghost Rider, I was thinking about putting him in a Blade, like in the Blade movie. I don't know if that would work. That would be my backup, but having Ghost Rider and
he'll be
Blade
a good
team up
Blade,
and
by the way.
hmm?
I think he'll be a good Blade. But once again, I hope he knows how to fight because Wesley Snipes is a fucking martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he made Blade. I mean, he's the granddaddy of the MCU Blade. As far as I'm concerned, the grandfather. He was they were like the
It was
first
the
really.
first major comic book movie.
It was the first major Marvel comic book movie.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And it was really successful. It was really good, and it didn't pull any punches. By the way, it was very graphic. Blade 1, 2, and 3 to a degree, very graphic. So that's what I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but that's kind of what I want from Blade under Disney. I doubt we'll get that though, but we'll
Yeah.
see. But
Well,
regarding Deathlock, I don't give a shit about Deathlock.
I figured you wouldn't.
He's very expendable, as far as I'm concerned. You're not going to miss him.
I would make it. I liked him. They wasted his potential, like a lot of other things on Agents of
He's
Shield.
not. He's not an original character, dude.
Yeah, he is.
No, I don't. I don't find he's like an evil version of Cyborg. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
He's just not for me. No.
And he's not really. I mean, he's not that evil either. But I mean,
yeah, he's.
I would kind of comic book him up a little bit, and do the, get him with the big guns and everything like that. Where instead of like when he was like more of a Terminator and in Agents of Shield, I would kind of get him the guns, mess him up a little bit more like he is in the comic books, stuff like that. All right, let's talk Melinda May. I would put her in the Shang-Chi movie. And now, before all of you call me racist, Zimario.
We already spoke about this earlier, and you should never even brought that up because it doesn't matter.
It's not
relevant.
Yeah, well, but I really feel like this. I mean, you want a lot of good martial arts, in the Shang-Chi movie, and I mean, Ming Yang Wei is a phenomenal martial artist. So slam dunk. That's my whole thought process behind this thing. On top of that, a lot of this is going to take place over in Asia. So, I mean, I think it's honestly a slam dunk. Getting Melinda May is kind of like either like somebody that Shang-Chi runs into and has to fight, or maybe she even trained. Maybe she's one of the people training Shang-Chi. I don't know Shang-Chi lore, so I don't know how this is going to go in this movie or even remotely. But I think Melinda May is just a great character to kind of pass the torch onto like the next martial artist, person in the MCU.
Melinda May's already got the torch passed to her if she does end up in the MCU from fucking Scarlett Johansson as the female kick-ass, because that's what she would be.
She's dead, so
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The torch would be passed to her from Scarlett Johansson, wouldn't it? Because they need a new female kick-ass. And there are a few. There's what's her face's bodyguard, T'Challa's bodyguard. I forgot the name of the character, the Black Panther. And I'm sure there's a couple of others. There's gonna be that girl.
Okoye,
yeah. And there's gonna be the girl from the Black Widow movie, her sister and shit, the one from fucking Fighting with My Family. And there's gonna be a few other female kick-asses, but I'm going on a tangent here. Back to Agent May. I do like the idea of her being in the Shang-Chi movie. I do want her to be in more than just that, though.
I agree with you on that one.
I want her to be like Black Widow. Like she's in the Shang-Chi movie, then she might be in the Captain America Winter and Falcon series. You know, she can be spread about. I mean, she is a Shield agent at the end of the day. So I think being in Captain America and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier would be the best place for her.
Well, and I think she's more popular. Like she's not even a character from the comic books, really, and she's more popular than Maria Hill. And Maria Hill is a character from the comic books.
Who? Maria Hill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
Agent May is more popular than Maria Hill, and Maria Hill's an actual character in the comic books, whereas Melinda May is not.
Maria Hill, by the way. Because the last thing I saw of Maria Hill was her turning into. Oh, sorry, she was at the funeral, I believe, of.
She wasn't even there, I don't think.
No, she was at the funeral of Tony Stark.
Was she?
Yeah, she was. But yeah, when we saw at the end of Far From Home, Maria Hill wasn't Maria Hill. She was a Skrull. So where the fuck is Maria Hill?
She might be with Nick Fury on the spaceship. I don't know. All right.
Okay.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
This is the one that everybody loves. Everybody loves this one. It is Agent Daisy Johnson. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Quake. All right. So for me, and this is a stab in the dark and just kind of, this probably won't work the more I think about it, but I'm not going to lie. I had a hard time placing Quake outside of a like Ms. Marvel show, because technically Ms. Marvel is an Inhuman. So it'd be like pairing an Inhuman with an Inhuman. And I didn't want to go that route. Like, it did make a lot of sense to put Quake with Ms. Marvel, but I wanted to put Quake in Black Panther 2. And let me tell you why. Black Panther 2 is heavily rumored to have featured either Atlantis or Latveria in Doctor Doom and Namor in it. I feel like that, Quake would probably do service to the story in being in this movie, because you need kind of someone to balance the power. Like, you have Black Panther, who's like,
what's she gonna do? I mean, how are you gonna get her involved?
I don't know. You want to know where this came from? The in Endgame, when she's like, there was a earthquake off the African plate or something like that. I'm like, hey, it's Quake. Yeah, that's really where this came from. But, and I mean, I'm not tying it into that. I'm just saying, like, either that or, I mean, it's got to be either Ms. Marvel, because Ms. Marvel's an Inhuman, Quake's an Inhuman. Kind of makes sense almost.
The Inhuman thing is not relevant. I mean, I'll give you an example. Juggernaut. Juggernaut is not in the comics. Is not a mutant.
No, he's not.
He's got his powers from a magical stone. But the movies, including Deadpool, as well as X-Men 3, it made him a mutant.
Is he a mutant in Deadpool too? I don't think so.
Well, they never really not made him a mutant.
I would say I don't think they mention it, but
He was definitely a mutant in X-Men 3 because
he was
100% because that boy who stops mutant power stopped him from being able to juggernaut his way through walls. So he's 100% a mutant in that.
Yeah, Juggernaut's more of a magic-based.
Yeah, he's a magic-based beast, powerful man. And so the fact that what I'm basically trying to say is that they can just shift things around. They can change things around for the sake of film and television, and I think when you mention Ms. Marvel, that's where she belongs. I think she'd be a good person to be a mentor to her.
As I said, I mean, I felt like that was the way to go, but then I had already done a slam dunk with May and Shang-Chi, and I'm kind of like, it makes sense, but I was trying to be a little bit different because, as I said, I mean, it might be interesting if Quake gets involved, because you have two kingdoms that are warring against one another. Who could stop them? I mean, someone who controls the Earth.
What it is that Shield? I mean, the Marvel is now starting from 2023. So basically, whatever Shield is in that particular state, and their fucking base got destroyed to shit. But nevertheless, wherever they are in that state, is how we have to see these characters now and how they get involved with the MCU. So in some ways, some of these characters might not necessarily have to be part of a show. They could just be on several. And I think maybe Daisy could be one of them.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
I mean,
All right.
honestly, what is Shield right now? We don't know, do we? I mean,
Huh?
you watched the television series. Has it incorporated the snap? Has it incorporated what's happened after Endgame?
No, because as of Infinity War at the end of season 5, I believe, they kind of split off from the MCU. I mean,
So,
because remember, Marvel was so secretive of what they were doing in Infinity War and Endgame that they had no choice. They had to they had to do their own thing because Marvel would not tell them anything about Infinity War and Endgame and what happens.
so the Shield we have now really is not the Shield we should have now.
Yeah. Up through the end of season 5, everything kind of coincides up through the end of season 5.
So so really, Shield is just a blank slate right now.
No, and that's why last season I thought was okay. You know, like, I mean, they kind of did their own thing and they were just like, you know what? But if the movies aren't going to play ball with us, we're not going to play ball with the movies. And they did their own thing. And it wasn't bad at all. I didn't think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, I think it's the right time for it to come to an end. All right. So the last one, Phil Coulson. Do you want to take a wild guess at where I'm going to put him?
I don't know where I honestly I haven't got a clue, but I'll start with where. You see, I'm not. It's not necessarily for me how I look at things. It's not necessarily what shows he should be on. It's sometimes who he should be with, and he needs to get back with Nick Fury. You know what I mean?
Well,
Or Maria Hill. I want to see. I really want to see Maria Hill and him maybe have a little thing going on. Who knows?
Actually, there's probably a piece of information that you need to know is that the original Phil Coulson is dead.
What, the actor?
No, the original Phil Coulson he died at the end of season 5 because remember.
Go on, tell me. You're spoiling it for me, but it's fine.
I know. Okay, so at the end of season 4, Phil Coulson took on the Ghost Rider temporarily. And what happened was that basically burned through all the Kree juices in his system that was keeping him alive. Okay. So throughout season 5, he was dying. And so at the end of season 5, he died. Now in season 6, there was an alternate universe evil Coulson that came, and you have to watch a show to understand it. It wasn't terrible, evil but Coulson. It wasn't my favorite.
Evil Coulson, what they converted him into a good guy.
No, not at all, actually.
Good. I'm glad they didn't.
So now the Coulson that we have in season 7 is going to be an LMD version, a life model decoy. The robot, like the life model decoy robots.
Oh, God, why? Why can't
I know that's why I'm saying it needs to kind of come to an end.
This is the problem this is the problem with the MCU generally. They don't necessarily commit to their shit. Yeah, they destroy Mjolnir, they bring back Mjolnir. They take out fucking Forzai, they bring back fucking Forzai. You know what I mean? They tell us that fucking Tony Stark at the end of Iron Man 3 is gonna quit everything, and then boom, old Age of Ultron, he's come back like nothing.
Yeah, well, no, Iron Man. I don't want to talk about Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is hot garbage.
Yeah, but the point is that they don't commit to anything, and oh God. So killing Coulson and bringing back, you just. I mean, there's already rumors they're going to bring back Tony Stark in some sort of capacity, and it's, I mean, they just don't. This is the biggest problem, their biggest problem. But I mean, Vision's coming back. You know what I mean? They're all coming back, man.
Well, I mean, I don't think Tony Stark should ever be back in a big capacity, just like Captain America. I don't mind a cameo from like old Steve Rogers. You know what I mean? Like in the next Avengers.
Because you know why? Because he's not fucking dead. That's why. Yeah, you know what I mean. But these other people are dead. Yeah, so it does make a
But
difference.
what if they brought Tony Stark back as an AI?
Yeah, I know, but that's still bringing him back in some capacity because they're dying to, because they need to. If he's dead,
I
if
think I think him I think them having a reduced role but still being there in some capacity is okay. And I can see Tony Stark making an AI based on himself. He thinks he's a freaking genius, which he is, but he still thinks it.
I
I can see
think,
him doing something like that.
look, I can just, all I'm saying is that if they do bring back an AI, make it like Jarvis and make it a voice.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
A voice, I'm cool with a voice. The moment you see a visual of Tony Stark in any capacity, like a holographic AI version, it kills his death. It ruins his, sorry, excuse the pun. You know what I mean? But it ruins his death, and I don't want that. They've ruined too many things.
I agree with you, but you know that they're not gonna blow by a chance to incorporate a visual of Robert Downey Jr. In an MCU movie. I agree with you. I think it should only be a voice because I think that would carry.
Flashbacks, I'm fine with. I'm fine with flashbacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because flashbacks is what it is. Flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they're saying he might show up in Black Widow because it takes place before he died. So.
But going back to Coulson,
Yeah.
So what Coulson are we getting? A robot, or we're getting?
Yeah, it's the robot life model decoy version.
So that's the Coulson we're talking about.
Well, I'm talking about any Coulson at this
point.
Because
theoretically, I mean, this is the thing now, because we're kind of going both ways here. At 1 minute, it's going its own direction. Next thing you know, it's part of the same universe. So I'm going to go with my own direction and say that Coulson is still alive, or he came back, or maybe he got blipped, and he came back after the snap by Hulk, and I would like to see him working alongside Nick Fury and Maria Hill in some capacity. Maybe mentoring. Maybe you could have him keeping an eye out on Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3 as a way of getting him back into it.
I mean, if you think about it, it kind of tracks because they had. I mean, look at Iron Man 1. You had Phil Coulson, working with Iron Man and everything like that. I mean, it would kind of track. It would kind of track for Coulson then to come along and kind of work with Peter Parker to kind of bring his whole,
Actually, it's a good point.
Yeah, it would kind of bring things full circle for the Peter Parker Tony Stark thing. I don't know what to call it, wardship. I don't know. But what I want to do with Phil Coulson is I want to let him rest. I think with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think they have dragged the character through the mud so far, especially last season with Evil Coulson. I did not like that. That was everything was good except for that whole Evil Coulson thing. And you don't even want me to get into what he actually was. It was, oh God, just
tell me.
No, it's just he was a duplicate through time travel, yada yada. You have to watch it. It would take me forever to explain it, and I've got 5 minutes. So, but it's worth a watch. I mean, you should go back and watch the second half of season 4 is actually really good. I really liked it. Season 5 is pretty good. Season 6 is the one that I'm kind of like, it's okay. It's doing its own thing, but the Coulson thing killed me. But I think
the character they ruined. They ruined him.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other. I go back to my original plan for Coulson, and I know you're going to kind of roll your eyes at this, but since Vision was destroyed, which I know he's coming back in WandaVision, so this won't make any sense. But I originally, when Coulson died in the first Avengers movie, and I heard Vision was in the second Avengers movie, I wanted Coulson to come back as Vision, as his personality and everything.
How's that possible? How will you correlate it?
Because they just upload his personality into a Vision, into the Vision protocol or whatever.
Oh, so they create a new Vision body because Vision's body was actually Vision body is still there.
Yeah,
his body's still there actually.
And I know it's not going to happen because they're doing WandaVision with Paul Bettany, but I just my original hope for Coulson was that yeah, he died in Avengers, but they brought him back as
Yeah,
like
but okay,
Vision.
so but Coulson becomes Vision guy. Can you imagine this short little, stocky guy, in the Vision outfit?
Mm,
I
no,
mean,
good point.
it's gonna look really stupid.
Or you
They're
can just have
gonna
him voice over.
what? I don't know. Have a different actor playing him. You might
Yeah,
as well just
and
go
then
with a
have
different
Coulson
actor.
voice over.
No, no, no. You might as well just go with a different actor.
Well, they did it. No, but they did